Well, it's just creepy. This is really creepy. Well, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. This is where we read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, none of that stuff going on here. Please hit the like and subscribe. Let me know I'm doing a good job. Please don't forget to check out Flashback Mondays, where we talk about Romantic Times book review magazine that did over 200 book reviews a month. I mention all different genres: historical, mystery, sci-fi, inspirational, mainstream, paranormal, urban, fantasy, erotica, holograms. Talk about it all. And Star Trek Fridays, and also If Then Fridays. If you like this, then maybe you like this author. So today we are talking about, it's not in my wheelhouse. It's not something I would normally read, but I saw it and I picked it up and I thought I would give it a try. It was a really, really quick read, about 3 hours, a little less than 3 hours. The Secret of Hartwood Hall. And it's just creepy. It has that OMEN feel to it, I guess. A little OMEN, it's just creepy. Those of you who have watched my podcast before, it's just, you can say it's just good, it's just bad, it's whatever you want. It's just. So, this poor lady, Margaret Lennox, travels to Hartwood Hall, and she travels in the middle of a bad storm, and her coachman is sopping wet. He's going to get pneumonia. They tried to stay in town, and the town won't let them stay. So they've got to continue on to the house. So they get up to the house, and they don't even let the poor guy come in and wring his clothes out or spend the night. No, they send him on his way after he drops off Mrs. Lennox. Mrs. Lennox gets there, and she is sent straight to bed. So it turns out that Mrs. Lennox is a recent widow. Her husband's been dead. He left her no money, no way of compensating for herself at all. And there is suspicions out there that she may or may not have killed him. She swears she did not, but there are accusations out there she wants to get out of town. So she gets a job as a governess, working for Mrs. Eversham. And the whole thing is just creepy. You're not allowed to go in the east end of the house. She doesn't want her son leaving the building. And if you go out for fresh air, make sure he's in your sight at all times. The servants are there's only a few servants, six. Miss Lacey's the cook, Mary's the kitchen girl, John Stevens is the butler. We rarely ever see him. Lewis is the kid, the 10-year-old kid that she's going to be the governess of. And she's going to teach him how to do stuff for school. And Paul is the gardener, and he turns into a love interest for Margaret. And it's just, they see ghosts maybe. There's people wandering around that are not supposed to be there but are not really there. She sees footprints and then turns around and the footprints are gone. And one of those other servants, her sister-in-law, sends her a letter saying, I don't believe you actually killed my brother. You can come home if you want. I'll put you up in my house. And so that letter spearheads one of the other servants to blackmail Mrs. Lennox and accuse her, hey, look, I will tell Mrs. Eversham that you committed murder if you don't give me stuff. So she gives her a husband's watch, and then the lady wants a wedding ring, and she's like, no, I'm not giving you my wedding ring. And then she's like, well, then I'll take half your wages every week. So there's this blackmail scheme going on. Then there's the ghost thing going on. There's the noises all over the building going on, but no one's allowed to check them out. No one's allowed to go there. Mrs. Eversham has secret missions. She leaves the house for a couple of days at a time and comes back. No one in the town knows them. No one in the town has ever met them. The town people call it the haunted house. Um, there's just, it's just creepy. And it's unsettling and it's uncomfortable. And I don't trust any of the characters. I don't even trust Mrs. Lennox. I don't trust anybody in this house. No one is who they say they are. There's several people with secret identities. I keep waiting for the kid to do something Omen like. He doesn't. He gets sick with the measles. Um, then she takes the kid out to church one Sunday without telling anybody. And when they get home, his mother has a conniption and then decides it would be good for her son to be out in the world. So she sends him out. Following Sunday, they go to church. They greet some people in town. Apparently, it's a really, really small town. And there's just so much going on here. It's layered with ghosts, and disappearings, and people getting sick, and blackmail is a huge part of it. Huge blackmail, huge. And apparently, Mrs. Lennox is not the only one being blackmailed by Susan. And in fact, Susan is working with some other people to uncover some other secrets. And you don't find this out till much later in the book. And Mrs. Eversham may or may not be who she claims to be. Lewis may or may not be who he claims to be. Mrs. Lennox has an affair with Lewis. They have clandestine meetings, and she ends up with child. She ends up losing the child. There's just so much here to unpack, and it gave me the creeps. It just gave me the creeps. It made me so creepy. I don't know why. I was uncomfortable. There was no murder. Well, there's murders, but they don't have to be solved because we sort of kind of know who did them. I think, sort of. Not really. Not sure. I'm not actually sure who killed who, but you can read. It just made. I guess that was the author's intention to write creepy because it's creepy. If I had one word to describe this book, it's creepy. It's uncomfortable. It's I mean, Jesus, it's just creepy. Um, what year is this? 1852. So, they use candles to get around, and there's no lighting, and it's just creepy. It's just massively creepy. So we've got a very small list of characters: Mrs. Eversham, the mother; Lacey, the cook; Mary, the kitchen girl; John Stevens, who we never see; Lewis is the kid; Paul is the gardener. So that's your like small group of characters right there, your core group. Mrs. Wellington, the vicar's wife. You really don't meet any town people. You don't meet anybody else. The home is just contained to the house, and it is really just creepy. So you have to find out what happens with Susan and her blackmailing Mrs. Lennox. Does she tell Mrs. Eversham? Does she hold it over Mrs. Lennox's head? And then who kills Susan? And who kills the other people that get killed? And it's just creepy. That's all I gotta say. It's just creepy. So I hope you'll check it out and hit the like and subscribe. Thank you.